From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 3rd, 2025. The IDF said today that it carried out an airstrike in Syria, hitting, it said, military capabilities that remained at the Syrian bases of Hama and T4, along with additional remaining military infrastructure sites in the area of Damascus. The IDF vowed we will continue to operate to remove any threat to Israeli civilians. The IDF also continued its counter-terror operation in northern Samaria, the West Bank, and said last night a number of terrorists threw explosives at Israeli forces in Jenin. The forces responded by firing at the terrorists to eliminate the threat, killing one terrorist and wounding two others, saying there were no casualties among IDF forces. Israeli security forces also arrested 8 wanted individuals, the IDF said, and confiscated weapons. Israel's Air Force also hit a terrorist from the Hezbollah terrorist organization, the IDF said, who is operating in southern Lebanon. And the IDF said today that it recently hit key terrorists who were in a command and control compound of the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza City area, a structure used by the terrorists to plan and execute terrorist acts against citizens of the State of Israel and IDF forces. Prior to the attack, it said many steps were taken to reduce the chance of harming civilians. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is on a state visit to Hungary, where he met today with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban and later with its president Tamás Sujak. In a joint press conference with Orban, Netanyahu thanked the Hungarian Prime Minister for his leadership, saying, "You support Israel proudly, unstintingly. You stand with us at the EU, you stand with us at the UN, and you've just taken a bold and principled position on the ICC." Referring there to Hungary saying earlier today that it would withdraw from the International Criminal Court, which last year issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and for then Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Netanyahu also spoke of what was discussed in the sit-down between himself and Orban, including, he said, the hostages who still are held captive by Hamas in Gaza, including a hostage with Hungarian citizenship. Netanyahu saying, "We are committed to bring back home all of them." The 59 hostages who remain held by Hamas have now been captive for 545 days. And the commander of CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, is in Israel. General Michael Kurilla held a joint meeting, the IDF said, with senior IDF commanders, during which they discussed strategic security issues across the region, saying this meeting serves as another reinforcement of the strategic ironclad relationship between the IDF and the U.S. military. As is done ahead of the Passover holiday every year, thousands of notes with prayers and wishes left by visitors in Israel and from around the world were removed from the Western Wall, the Kotel in Jerusalem's Old City, clearing the crevices of the ancient stones. The Times of Israel cited Western Wall Rabbi Shmuel Rabinowitz, saying, "This year we have many prayers and wishes by soldiers, wounded, bereaved families, and families who went through the terrible catastrophe of the October 7th massacre and the ensuing war." After being carefully removed, the notes of prayers will be taken for ritual burial on the Mount of Olives. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, April the 3rd. At 7 o'clock, Shabbos Kestenbaum talks about his experiences with antisemitism at Harvard Divinity School. At 8, Jonah Platt speaks with award-winning author and scholar Dara Horn about the complexities of Jewish identity, combating modern-day anti-Semitism, and more. At 9, it's Ruth Wisse on L'chaim. At 10, David Harris speaks with Andrew Fox, research fellow at the Henry Jackson Society. At 10:30, it's an encore of the news. And coming up next tonight, Rabbi Erez Sherman speaks with Auburn University men's basketball coach Bruce Pearl, who used his NCAA Tournament press conference to call for the hostages to be released. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 3rd, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.